2023, what is it gonna be? We're gonna talk today, Ryan and Real Estate, about the 2023 housing market and what is actually going to happen next year, right here on Ryan and Real Estate. All right, 2023 is here shortly, just another few days, and I wanted to give you what I believe are my predictions for the 2023 market. Now, let me just say this before I get started. 2022 was actually a great year for the most part of it. We saw amazing home appreciation. We saw sellers being able to get great value for their home. We saw buyers who got into some wonderful homes, and we are so thankful here at the Adams Group that we've been able to help make that possible with a lot of families here in the Houston area. Now, 2023, partly just to understand where we're going into that market, what it's going to look like, is that we are headed into a recession. We're in it, we're headed into it, and most likely it's predicted that it's not going to end by the end of 2023. So a lot of the data that I've pulled, and I'm using lots of different sources out there to help me come up with this information, and then my own experience of being a real estate agent, doing hundreds of transactions and knowing where the market's at, helps me come to this conclusion where I'm at. Now, I'm predicting it. There's no final answer here. The market's definitely shifting. I remember at the beginning of 2022, I did not think we would be hit 7% interest rates, but we did. I did think we would get in the upper fives, but I did not think we'd go to sevens. But here are the predictions. Prediction number one, and let's start with interest rates. We will probably start 2023 at probably a 6.3, 6.5% interest rate. So 6.3% is where we're going to start. I believe by the end of 2023, we're going to end with interest rates at around 5.75. Could go a little bit lower. And here's my reasoning for that. Again, of course, taking into account to all the different other sources that I pulling this information from is when you go into a recession, obviously the point is that we want to curb inflation. That's what the Feds have stepped in and tried to do. And we've seen in the last couple of months, it's actually doing its job. And if they wanted to stop real estate transactions, they achieved that very much so. We saw a huge decline in actual total transactions happening in the fourth quarter and beginning in the third quarter. So that is what has been happening. So what does that have effect? As inflation goes, typically mortgage rates do follow. So we should start seeing the Fed start tapering their increase, which is not an increase in mortgage rates, but we should see them tapering their rate back down as inflation starts to fall. But that also means, unfortunately, there's going to be a hard hit on the economy when that does happen. And it's playing its effect on a lot of companies right now. Have you seen a lot of these layoffs and whatnot? But when rates do go down, and when inflation does go down, rates do typically follow. Based on all the different data, we're thinking maybe by the end of 2023, we'll be somewhere in the mid fives. Prediction number two, home prices for Texas. Now, home prices for 2022 was a great year. Home prices were up year over year at 17% per the FHFA house pricing index. So that being said, that's been a great year for 2022. And before I tell you the answer of house pricing prediction here, just know in the last 3 years have been historically record-setting years. So if you're sitting there and you're a seller and you're going, man, I'm not going to potentially not get the value that I got in 2022, what I would tell you is this. You've crushed it if you've owned your home in the last 3 years. You've had, average 20 to 30% appreciation per home in the U.S. Unbelievable. Probably historic time in history that we'll ever see that again. But from the sources I use, I believe that we are going to actually have, there's some sources like Realtor.com, they suggest we're going to have a 5.4% increase in home prices. There's some like Zelman that are predicting as low as a depreciation of 5.1%. So I'm actually going to pick somewhere, looking at about 7 or 8 different sources, I'm going to pick somewhere in the middle and say we probably will not see very much, probably flat home appreciation for 2023. Meaning, whatever your home is valued at right now, It's probably going to sell for the similar amount next year. Third prediction, home sales. This is a big one. In 2022, we saw a 8.5% increase in home sales, meaning we saw 6.12 million homes sell. 2023, based on the interest rates, based on the economy, based on the recession, we are seeing a prediction that 2023 is going to have about a 15% decrease, actually 14.1% decrease in homes sold. The prediction is 4.5 million homes sold rather than that 6.12. Why is that? Again, in recessions, interest rates actually do go down and home prices tend to go up, which I'm saying they're probably going to be flat, but you have less transactions happening because there's such a shift in people maybe are scared or don't know what's going to happen to their job, and so less people are making those transactions, and that's why we think, along with the higher interest rates that we experienced last year in the threes, that we will probably see less transactions actually being had. The recession, the inventory, here's the inventory that I would suggest for you to look at for my fourth prediction would be how many homes are going to be in the market. We know at the beginning of 2022, there was like no homes in the market. As soon as they go in the market, they get bid out. It would go quick, and they just didn't stay on the market long. We're actually still historically at a low inventory. 2022, we saw a negative 19.4% year-over-year inventory, meaning 20% less homes on the market in 2022. 2023, here's what I think it's going to be. I think we're going to see an increase of 22 to 23% more homes on the market. We've already seen this in many markets across the U.S., and that basically means there's less buyers buying up those homes and allowing that inventory to stay on the market. But overall, here's my conclusion. Actually, next year, if you're a buyer or you're a seller, it's a great year to buy or sell because it's a very balanced market. It's going to be more stress-free. As a seller, your home may sit on the market a little bit longer. As a buyer, you can be a little pickier. You can ask for some stuff for the seller to help you out with, maybe seller contributions or help you out with the interest rates or whatever it might be. But it's not going to be this high pressure, get it on the market, stress out, throw bids way over the sales price. It's back to maybe a little bit what it was like before 2019 or 2020, except here's the bonus. The bonus is if you do own a home, you've experienced great appreciation, and whether you bought in 2019 to 2020, you've seen great appreciation, and that's going to stay with you whether you sell next year or 3 years or 5 years down the road. So there it is, 2023. Don't be scared. Of course, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Would love to answer any questions that you have. It's funny, we get a lot of debate in the comments sometimes, but if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out, and we'll see you next time. Ryan Real Estate. Happy New Year!